Office of the National Security Advisor is working with experts in nuclear technology to ensure nuclear materials and radioactive substances don't get in the wrong hands. It's concerned that terror groups like Boko Haram and its affiliates who have advanced IED technology must now be allowed to go nuclear. Defense correspondent Stephen Hassan reports.
Nuclear materials and radioactive substances are put to such constructive use as power generation, radiation therapy, food processing and industrial applications. But the same materials can be harmful if used by non-authorized persons. Nigeria was hit by Boko Haram insurgency and the terror group's use of IEDs to carry out attacks. That's why the Office of the National Security Advisor is working to ensure that they do not have access to nuclear materials or radioactive substances.
In the whole of West Africa, no country has been hit hard by terrorism like Nigeria with the Boko Haram. We lost almost 20,000 lives. If these people use AK-47 and improvise explosive devices to cause this mayhem, you can imagine, as non-state actors, if any atom of uranium, anything of nuclear will fall into their hands, the devastation will be terrible.
This meeting of experts in Abuja provides a platform for sharing knowledge on nuclear security.
It's about sharing each other's lessons and share best practices. Nigeria is hosting a number of countries from across the African region, and they are bringing together experts from across the region that will really allow them to hear from each other how they are doing their best efforts to counter that threat.
The nuclear terrorism, to have countries coming together at these type of workshops to share best practices, how to secure nuclear and radiological materials, to discuss how they are able to develop their own response capabilities in order to detect, prevent and then respond to events of nuclear or radiological terrorism.
Metal, whereby scrap metals with traces of radioactive materials are shipped from Nigeria to Europe. We have so far we have within 6 months we have 6 cases of shipment of scrap metal with radioactive sources.
The National Nuclear Watchdog is working on tracking the movement of nuclear materials and radioactive substances.
So what we are planning to do now is to be able to put radiation portal monitors around the seaports and also airports, international airports, just to prevent this illicit trafficking of radioactive materials.
It's a global agreement that nuclear materials or radioactive substances mustn't be allowed to get into the hands of terrorists. Stephen Hassan, TVC News, Abuja.